Lovelies. Hi, everybody. Wednesday evening in Germany, anyway. Thank you for joining me, guys. I'm not quite sure if I'm already live. I think so. Just have a sip of coffee to get going. So, welcome, my friends. My name is Angela. I'm the owner and creative energy from Elfen Helden. I'm a light retailer for Dixie Belle paints over here in Frankfurt in Germany. Also the German distribution for Dixie Belle and for Would You Band. So when you join me, just say hi to me and let me know where you're watching from. It is 8 p.m. over here in Frankfurt, Germany. So just let me know when you join, what time it is where you are watching from, and what the temperature is like. It's about 2 degrees Celsius over here, so it's pretty cold. I'm wearing layers, long sleeve shirt, long sleeve sweater, thick blouse, so I'm trying to get warm. Guys, I'm having this bench here. It is, again, lately I'm having a lot of pieces in a pretty rough shape. It was covered in loads of layers of paint, and I've stripped it, I've sanded it, and as good as it was possible. And I basically decided to work with what we've got here. It's a pretty rough piece, so we're going to work with some terra clay paints on that, which I think they are perfect for building texture and working with those pieces. Just like gives it the perfect result. So cannot see comments at the moment, but anyhow, if you're there, I'm happy you're watching. So as I said, we're going to work with some terra clay paints. We're going to mix a color. Also on the sides of this piece, I would like, hi Nina, thank you for joining. Hi to Spain. How is the weather there? It is cold over here. We have about 2 degrees Celsius, so that's pretty cold. It's not my weather. I'm a summer person. I don't know about you. Are you a summer or a winter person? So I'm thinking, I'm not quite sure if I'm going to use the X1002 or the 1530, which is cold as well, Nina. Which is comes in a pair. So I think I'm going to go for those. This one is I think is a bit too big for that piece. We're going to apply that to the side first. Those you can also get from Dixie Belle. Hi, mein Hase, from Dixie Belle and from Dixie Belle retailers in the US. They are from Wood You Band, and for those who don't know, the Wood You Bands are made out of wood, basically, and in a cold state. They have all the benefits from wood, which means you can drill them, you can sand them, you can saw them. We like both winter and summer. I'm definitely a summer person. So I think that's a quite cute pair. This is just like to add a little bit of interest onto that piece. And when you warm them up, they get nice and bendy and flexible. And where do I have my heat gun? I always forget something. You can warm those up with a hair dryer. You can warm them up on a griddle. I'm actually going to turn it on. Put the second one on there so it can get warm a little in a second. And let's get started on the sides. So I hope you're all well. All in a Christmas mood. Let's see that you can see. Things out of the way before I drop the things. You know, my second name is Master of Disaster. The colors from terra clay paint I've brought with me. Hang on. Plug that in. To go. From terra clay paints are, as I said, we're going to mix the color later on, and I want to have a bit of peachy apricot color, and for that I'm going to use later on the I'm always not sure how to spell that correctly. It's bougainvillea. I'm not sure. Daffodil, I can spell that. And prairie dawn. We're going to mix those in a minute, but we start first with the woody band. And woody bands are basically perfect to add some character and interest to your projects. I also have Galaxy for some grungy parts on there also. That's mixing. And let's see. I've also bossed that piece just to, it is some sort of pine, whatever wood, and you can see underneath also, I don't know whether I slapped the paint on that thing. I'm going to bring you a bit closer so you can see what we are doing with the woody band. There you go. I think you should see pretty nicely now. Okay, so woody bands you can apply onto any surface you can think of. Basically both the same. I'm going to put one on the griddle, warm that through. And I think I'm going to put it somehow like this on here. What do you think? Do you like that? So as I said, those when they're cold, can hear. You could also break them if you use some force. I'm not going to do that. So I've got my heat gun here to warm that up first, and you apply those with wood glue. You can apply those onto any surface you can think of, not only wood. Hallo Anja, schön, dass du da bist. You can also apply them onto glass, onto metal, onto mirrors, onto plastic. They basically adhere onto anything, and you always use some wood glue. Use a wood glue of good quality. I have my Tide Bond Quick and Thick with me, which is for me the perfect glue to work with. I'm not sure what you have in the US, but every good quality wood glue works fine. So I'm going to use a noise and warm that up first. We're deciding which way around. I think that way around is quite nice. You could also cut those apart when they are nice and soft. As I said, it's the 1530. And they need about the same time to cool down like they need to warm up. You can see this is now nice and bendy. So you can adhere that easily onto any shape of project. Also, I could also twist it around edges and things like that. So now I'm going to apply my wood glue. Make sure you cover the whole surface so it gets good adhesion. You can spread out the wood glue with your fingers. What I usually do, you can use a brush, but as wood glue is water-based, I am not that much bothered. So get that nicely spread out evenly on the whole ornament. The woody bands come in ornaments, they come in trims. You can basically lay around the top of your whatever tables and dressers, and just to add some more interest. So this is one of the ornament pieces. So I'm just going to lay that down. Let's see, I want to have it going to have that here. I usually eyeball. I don't really. I just get a baby wipe to get that glue off my fingers. So warming it back up again. So it's pretty cold here inside here also. If you have questions, guys, just put them in the comments and I see that I answer those straight away. So then I push it right onto the surface so it snuggles itself nicely on there. And you don't need to worry that you damage any of the beautiful details of the ornaments. They are so tough, you cannot do that. But you can squeeze, especially the edges, nicely onto your project, so it basically looks like it was always there and not applied afterwards. Hi Sissi, schön, dass du da bist. So the excess glue, which is squeezed out on the sides, you can take off with a damp cloth, with a baby wipe. You can use a damp brush. That's what I'm going to do actually. So just get like a little brush, dip it into some water, and I'm just going to. The glue dries clear. It is white when you just applied it, but it dries clear. So, but if you don't want to have the texture, it basically leaves when it's squeezed out on the sides. You can basically take the excess glue off. And you can paint it straight away. You can paint the woody bands before you apply them. You can paint them after you've applied them. You can use any paint you can think of on them. You can even stain them with the voodoo gel stains or something like that. As I said, they behave like real wood. They are porous, so you could also use the So is that one done? One side finished. And guys, when you watch replay, please put hashtag replay into the comments so that I know that you've been there. Also then when you have questions, tag me, Angela Bailey, so I know that you had questions, so I come back for you to answer them. And you can get all the products from your local retailer. The link is in the description where you can basically check them out on the Dixie Belle page. Also make sure you follow the Chalk Mineral Paint Enthusiast group. There are loads of tips and tricks and things on there also. So let's get to the other side. Turn that around. And do the same thing on the other side. It's basically the first step. So I had that just laying down on the griddle, so this is nice and bendy already. This way around. And the other side approximately about there. Same thing. Quick and easy. Apply your wood glue. And this rewarming and pushing it down onto the surface of your project. I always do that even if I add it onto glass or something like that, because no surface is completely even. Also, the woody band itself might, the way it has dried, not be completely flat. And that basically makes sure the whole ornament gets nice adhesion to your surface. As I said, this is apart from the Dixie Belle woody bands. Also, they are carrying, and the Dixie Belle retailers, you should get them from them. And you can get basically woody band and Dixie Belle all over the world by now. So, let's see. I have that about same like on the other side. Excuse me, I've just got to check that out that I have it approximately in the middle. I had those about lined up with those thingies here. I don't know what you call them. I call them thingies. Who else calls things thingies? I do a lot of times. Just want to make sure. Yeah, that's about it. So it's already cooling down again, so I'm going to reheat it. Make sure it's nice and flexible again. As I said, you can also use a hairdryer. I have a heat gun. Works a little quicker. I'm gonna be a little more careful with the heat gun. I know what I'm talking about. Master of disaster. It wouldn't be the first time I'm burning myself on those things or charring my woody bands as they are wood. Obviously, you can char them. Also, when you put them on a griddle. Pushing it nicely on here, making sure it's, especially on the edges, it's nicely adhered. Take the excess glue off. We don't want to have from the mess we made, or I made basically. I'm a messy painter, guys. Who else is a messy painter? Who else is a messy painter? So, get my brush. With that damp brush, it's a little easier, especially when you have like detailed ornaments, to get like in all the edges and crevices and corners where you may have squeezed it out. So, first step finished. The glue is going to take some time to dry, but the Quick and Sick is pretty nice to work with. It gets a pretty good adhesion straight away. I like it, especially when I work on vertical surfaces, that the projects don't slide down. If you watched one of my first videos, I've been struggling like holding it up and continuing with my work. So, okay. So that's finished. Just like a little bit of interest on both sides. There we go. And then now we're going to mix some paint. Color of our desire. And I want to go a little bit into this direction. This is the apricot from the chalk mineral paint line from Dixie Belle. And I didn't choose that because I want to build up some texture and things, because it's perfect for that for this project. The chalk mineral paints are perfect when you know, going for a smooth finish. That's what I prefer them for. Any questions till now? No. So I'm gonna get you a little back. So let's see. Okay. For mixing, as I said, I'm going to use the Prairie Dawn Daffodil, which is a yellow, and the Bougainvillea. Apologies for my bad pronunciation of that, but there. So Terra clay paints are clay-based paints. They're water-based. They have low VOC. So I'm going to get you a little over so you can see a little better. go. And highly pigmented. And the special thing about them is that you can basically really build up texture with them. They with the chalk mineral paints, they are self-leveling, meaning when they dry, the brush strokes level themselves out. And this is the difference to the terra clay paints. The brush strokes don't level themselves out, so you can really play with it and add texture and brush strokes however you want to have it. So mix them up nicely as every water-based product. Loads of baby wipes now. I'll do that with my fingers. So Bougainvillea is, just gonna make sure, paint from a lid in the jar, is a pretty pink. So baby wipes, clean my fingers off. As I said, water-based. So just shake that. Sure. Shake it again. They are a little thicker than the chalk mineral paints. So that's the daffodil, a real bright yellow. From the lid into the jar also. I'm going to roughly measure it. It's probably going to be 1 part of the pink Bougainvillea and 1 part of the daffodil, and about 2 parts probably from the Prairie Dawn. Bonsoir Michel, ça va? So, you know, red and yellow turn orange, and pink and yellow turn a bit peachy, and to brighten it up I'm going to use the Prairie Dawn. So Prairie Dawn is a bit of a creamy white. The camera is not really catching it. It's a bit of a creamy white. There we go. Creamy white. And I'm just going to put that into a little jar. So, baby wipe. That's it. So let's see. If you want to make sure that you have basically or remix the paint mixture you should measure it obviously a little more exact than I do at the moment, but I'm just going to make just about enough for this project. So this is about 1 to 1, roughly, from those two for now. And we're first going to mix that, see what we get. So this is going to turn out a little more brighter than the marigold. Marigold is also from the Terra Clay paints. It is also an orangey color, but it's a little more going into the terracotta color range. And we're going a little more into the apricot color range. So that's for now with those two, the mixture. And now I'm going to add the Prairie Dawn to brighten that up and see if I bigger spoon than the others. Let's see what this does. And now I'm having a spoon for each color just to make sure. And as this has like a little bit of a creamy white, like, you know, buttercream. So I want to have it a little lighter, and I want to have it a bit more peachy. That's still pretty pinky. So I'm going to add a little more of the daffodil to it. You can mix the most beautiful colors basically with those. The Terra Clay paints, they come in 18 different color shades till now. So probably a little bit more of the Prairie Dawn to have a little lighter. They're like pudding. Do you have pudding in English? So now we're slowly getting there. Now we're slowly getting there. Getting a bit more peachy, apricot-like. A little more of the daffodil and a little more of the Prairie Dawn, and I think we're good to go. And this is going to be enough then for my project. I'm slapping some paints already onto my project, which is no problem. They are, you know, as long the Terra Clay paints are not sealed, I can reactivate them with some water and just take them off. Just take them off. As I said, if I wanted to have like the exact measurements, I would have measured it correctly, but I don't need that. A little lighter. The bench itself, I've used a Boss Clear on there. as it is some sort of pine wood, and I do want to avoid some bleeding. Even this is going to be a bit more rustic. So there we go. That's about it. They're going to dry basically, let's see, a little. That's pretty much, I don't know if you can see that. That's pretty much the color of the apricot. A little lighter. That's it. Okay. Painting the terra clay paints, I prefer the one of the natural bristle brushes, because the bristles are a little firmer and you can really build up some texture. We need at the moment to build up some texture. I have my water spray bottle here, and I'm going to use the La Petite brush by Dixie Belle also. I'm seeing some hearts. Thank you guys. I hope you're all well. Oh, hi Isabel. Hola. Buonanotte. So let's see. Yeah, well, we basically just slapped the paint on there now. I'm going to keep the Prairie Dawn also pretty close. Let's see. Also pretty close, because I'm actually going to add some on my lid, so I don't need to go into the jar. That's what I'm going to use also a bit. And with the Galaxy, which is like a darkish, very dark green. Hallo Marion, schön, dass du dabei bist. Let's see what we do with that. So, but main color will be the peachy color, apricot color we've just mixed. I'm going to dampen my brush. I love the Best brush, but that's really, really big, so I sometimes prefer the La Petite. It's a little easier in my hand. So that's the color we're going to use now. That's the color we've just mixed. And yes. You can spray your project also. This is just to spread out. This is the first coat, guys. You know what I say, first coat is not going to be very nice. It's basically just to see if I do like what I basically just mixed, and go from there. As I said, this is an old bench. It was covered in loads of layers of paint. It's pretty pain to get off, but it worked pretty nicely. Going swirling motions to get like a good coverage. I'm not sure if I'm going to use a transfer or something like that, or maybe even some decoupage on there. I will decide on that later. You know, a lot of my projects, I basically decide on the fly what I do with it. So this one will also be available in the shop later. And sometimes when you have a rough piece like this, it's no point in, you know, trying to make like an elegant, classy piece out of it and whatever, sand the heck out of it. I then rather decide to work with what I have. And I feel lately with furniture, I mean, just go on the other side here. When I was a young girl, I used to do some horse riding, and as I didn't have our own horse, I basically, you know, done work in the stables and things like that to be allowed to ride the horses. And I usually got the horses, which were really, really difficult. Nobody else could handle. I had to look after those. I was the only one who was basically had the patience and wasn't scared from them, even if they were like biters, to handle them. So this is going to be painted mainly with that color. I'm going to turn that around also to paint it underneath. It's going to get like a whole coverage in that beautiful peachy color, and then we'll add a little of that white and things to it. So let's just see if we so, pull it over here again. Let's see, sides. Just going to that here to cover it underneath also. I'm using a good amount of this of the paint. Get it everywhere. For a piece like this, the La Petite is pretty good also because it's like pointed. So you get easier into those crevices. Project, that was a bit much paint. So I'm also going to get it around the molding. For those who got in later, we've applied, this is the 1530 plywood band we've already applied to start with. Hair. As I said, I want to make sure first I have everything covered. Before I come in with other colors. So pretty. This is going to be the perfect apricot. that. I'm just going to get like a smaller brush now for those edges. Here, here. I'm gonna get that with my big brush. So as I said, I had like problem horses, scuba diver instructor also. Mostly I was the one who got the people who were a little scared or something like that. I looked after those. To give them some, made them feel comfortable underwater. And I'm having like the travel furniture lately also. Which are sometimes pretty sad to look at, to make. You can spritz your woody bands also with a little water to so that the paint basically slides into it, into the crevices a little easier. Sure, I have everything underneath. And as I said, I've sanded it, I've stripped it, I've sanded it as much as possible. But I don't know how many layers of paint they had applied onto it. It was pretty rough shape. I couldn't get it all off, especially in all those crevices and things like that. Yeah, it's just not possible. So I decided I'm going to work with what I have here. Sometimes it's also fun. And as I said, this is the first coat. It's not about perfect coverage, but you can already see the coverage is pretty nicely. And I'm going to go underneath. Bit wobbly on here. A bit wobbly. At least it's going to look nice later on, as they didn't paint or just half painted it underneath. You can see still some of the paint colors they've used. It was cracking also, so I'm not sure if they used a crackle medium or if it was just the paint itself which was doing that. And I've applied some Boss in clear, as I'm working with a pretty light color. Even the Terra clay paints resist pretty much the bleed through. I just don't want to take any risk, even if a piece is looking rough. I like to control that a bit. I don't like to leave it all to paint. So, are you painting something, guys? Are you painting something? Even so, I'm building up texture with the brush. I'm going at the moment with the wood grain, just to get the coverage for now.
really like this color. It's not one of my typical bold colors. It's a bit lighter. I thought is going to give this piece pretty nice soft touch at the end. Just make sure. And still, we are working on the first coat. We can already see the coverage is really, really good for those areas which I can't get with the La Petite. I'm just using an artist brush. This is also a natural bristle one, just to make sure I have the paint everywhere. So this is going to be a bit of a grungy look later, but even so, I want it covered basically. Those crevices are going in swirly motions to get into them for now. Terra clay paints, they dry lighter than they appear when they are wet, but you can revive those colors basically with the top coat of your choice at the end. Let's see, do I have everything over there? Oops. I'll just brush for those areas. Have everything pretty much here. It's pretty good. I'm going to turn that over on the other side in a second also. So I'm going to get the other areas down there. This is the nice thing about small projects. You can twist and turn them and make sure you basically hit every area you want to. So good. Into here. Let's see. Do you see any spots I've missed? Just let me know. You should let it dry in between coats for a couple of hours so the paint is pretty dry and you're not pulling it back off when you are basically painting over it. See how far we get. It looks pretty much okay to me. What do you say? Oh, phew. Changing the bathroom. I can imagine that. That's so now how do I twist that without little. Let's see. Twist that. Hang on. the other side. Same thing basically. For the first coat, there's a light color. Coverage is really, really good. I'm happy. Don't know what you think. I'm pretty happy. Terra clay paint spread out really, really nice. As I said, one of the biggest benefits is that you can reactivate them anytime with water until they are sealed. So as long as you haven't sealed them, you can reactivate them even in a year. Which is for painting and layering. Perfect condition, because you're not building up like thick layers. You can basically move the paint into each other a lot easier. So rich and creamy, so much fun to work with. And as I said, you know, when you have like a rough piece like that, you know, don't try to make it a princess. Oh God, it's already 50 minutes, guys. Time flies when you're having fun, they say. I'm gonna let you go in a minute. Just going to finish this side here off, and then going to do quickly the top. Here. Ornaments. Making sure the areas all hit. Probably boring you with just one color, but you could also see how easy those colors, or this color, was to be mixed. We've used the daffodil, bougainville, the whatever it is pronounced. I'm missing my American Michelle. She is usually my translator. Oh, I can't even say that word in German. It's the same word basically in German, and it's a flower. I know that, but I can't pronounce it in German either. So the grungy part is definitely going to come next time. Here we're going to work first with the lighter colors. Do the edges now while I'm having the small brush in my hand. Can do that also. It doesn't really matter if you do the edges first or if you do them second after you've applied the main. Not for this project anyway. You see, there's some on this side. It always helps to move around your projects. It doesn't spritz that a little to make sure, especially when you work with the ornaments and things, to make sure you've hit all the areas. And it's ever so pretty, this color. And I think this ornament goes perfectly with it. Don't know what you think. I hope you like it too. And I just added that just to have like a little more, add a bit more interest to the whole thing. I just love woody bands. They're so versatile. And they're so helpful with, don't forget, black. Black. Takes sometimes longer to work on a chair or on a bench like this than a whole dresser with all the whatever the details you will not, or you don't want to forget. But coverage is now pretty much fine. So I'm just going to put that up. Let's see. So let's do a little bit, just very quick on top, just a little bit of the, I'm going to use the same brush because I want to have a little bit of the Prairie Dawn mixed into our mixture we've just made, just to lighten the middle up a bit, using the same brush. That's what I tend to do with the Terra clay paints. Grabbed a bit of my mixture, come from the outside. That mixture. It already has dried. Add a little more of the Prairie Dawn to the inside. You can spray your brush, which I'm doing also because it's pretty dry by now. You can also spray your project. I like to use the Mister Bottle from Dixie Belle because it's a very fine mist. Thank you, Nina. I'm happy you do like it. I know it's a pretty unusual color for me. So, a little more of the Prairie Dawn. They blend ever so easy. Swirly motion, swipey motion, swirly motion, swipey motion. So that's what we go for today. And next week we do the second coat and we add a bit of grunging. But this is basically what I want to go for. A bit lighter on top, in the middle, and I will come in with the grungy colors then from the bottom, a bit on the edges. Got a bit of the earthy type of these. I'm going to twist it so you can maybe see that a little better. Ooh, it's just a little bit of the, but I don't want to overwork it now. I've taken up a lot of your time, my good friends. I'm happy that you stayed with me. I think it already looks tons better than it did when I started. And
There is somebody on Instagram also. Guys, thank you for watching. Okay, 1 hour. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? Time flies when you're having fun. I'm warm now. I'm warm now. My friends, thank you so much for joining me and for staying with me. So, good husband's home on Wednesday. Yes, I'll see you tomorrow. I'll be live tomorrow. There will be something to win on my page again. Again, if you want to look for your local retailer, check on. Tatsächlich, Elisabeth. Sissi, das hätte ich jetzt nicht gedacht. Okay. Thank you for joining me. My name is Angela. I'm the owner of Creative Energy from Elfen Helden. I'm an Elite retailer and German distribution for Dixie Bell over here in Frankfurt in Germany. So if you want to shop the products, including the woody bands, pop over to your Dixie Bell page and check out your local retailer there. Also for over here, I really appreciate you being with me. I also appreciate if you leave me a follow on my page, The Master of Disaster, and so you don't miss any of my crazy projects. And I'm gonna let you go now. Thank you for being with me, guys. Have a lovely evening, day, afternoon, wherever you're watching from. It is 9 p.m. over here now, so it's late. Take care, guys. Ta-da. I'll hopefully see you tomorrow. Bye-bye. De rien, Michel. Merci à tu.